What's up? Grace Report. Happy Saturday. How's everyone doing? How's your weekend going? What is up, Tammy, Mr. Spock, D Nice, Dusty, Carol, Wendy, Matthew, Lisa Boo, Kyle, Ozzy Walks, or See Australia with me, Rose. How's everyone doing, and how was your weekend while we wait for people to trickle in? Did anyone do anything interesting today? Nice, great, nice day for a walk. I did go for a walk earlier. It was really nice. I think it was supposed to be hotter according to the weather today than it actually was. I think it said it was supposed to be like 86 or 87. It ended up being like 83, which was nice. Here in SoCal. Joanne, what is up? How's it going? It looks like though next week it might warm up, so this nice fall weather that we were having. D Nice goes mouse hunt. I caught a critter on my ring at 3 a.m. so the traps are out. Ha! Funny, D Nice. I was thinking because I usually always get mice in my room because I have my screen door. There's a gap between the glass and the screen, right? So this year, what I did was I covered the gap. I stuck a piece of plywood in there, and I was like, "Huh, I haven't had any critters. It worked." So I'm in the bathroom, and next thing I know, I talked to, like, I jinxed myself basically. I was thinking this yesterday, so this was funny. So I'm like, you know, there, and then all of a sudden, whoosh, I was like, MFer, what the heck? So I bought some traps. I'm waiting for them to come because I ordered them online. So we'll see what happens. Tammy goes, it was 87 here. That's not too bad. Tyranna, what is up? Brandon, how's it going? Ray J. Wench, how's it going? Matthew goes, Maryville, Halloween, boo. Gunner Girl, what is up? We'll wait a few more minutes for people to trickle in. D-Dice goes, that's right, MFers are fast, but they are. And then, oh, the worst part, right? I saw it go this way, right? Which is going to my sink area. Because I have a separate bathroom and sink because I'm in the master bedroom, right? So I go over there, I go to wash, because sometimes I clean things in my tub, because I have a tub there too. That's separate from where my shower is. And I'm cleaning, putting everything away. And the MFer, the little rascal, he starts running toward me. He ran over my feet. I was like, I'm not scared of mice or anything, but he startled me because I wasn't expecting that. I was like, MFer, what that you little So needless to say, this mouse is brave and he's got some huevos. Joanne set some traps too. Must be that time of year. I thought I escaped it, but I guess not. The only reason why I knew last time that I had them in my room, I ended up having two. I thought it was one is because I found they were on my bed, and I was like, MFers. D Nice goes, I had to wash Maya's food area. It was good thing the machine was empty. But I will post the video on Telegram, on my Telegram, on the Grace Report Telegram. He was cute, but still, I know they're cute, but I don't want him in my house. Julissa, what is up? Chris, how's it going? Nerd report in the house. How's it going? But I usually have, like I said, the mice run the other direction. This mouse, like I said earlier, literally went over my feet like he didn't care that I was there. He was like, "I'm going this way. Bye." But then I do have a hill behind my house, so um it's kind of a given that you get those kind of things. So I'm like, Carol goes, "My brother bought steaks for my birthday and cake too. He was so thoughtful for once I didn't have to buy my own meal to cook." That was nice of him, Carol. And happy birthday. Or when is your birthday? I remember you saying it, but it has crossed my mind. Julissa goes, "I just got home. We were celebrating my mom's birthday, which is on Monday." Oh, that is super cool. Super cool. Happy birthday to your mom, Julissa. Emily, how's it going? Actually, Carol, that is kind of nice when someone buys other than yourself buys you something like a meal for your birthday. That was kind of nice of him. That was sweet of him, actually. D Nice goes, "When will DJ Grey Wolf emerge?" I don't know yet because I'm trying to figure out because I have it set up here, but the problem is I only have one computer. Well, I mean I have two. One of them's for mixing because I have to have a computer. It's not a standalone, so I have to have a computer with it. But uh this computer I'm currently using, which I use to stream Grayson Report on, does not like OBS, and you have to stream on OBS because that is what I was using first when I started Grayson Report, and it would glitch, and then I switched to something else, and I haven't had a problem since. The ghosts have left me alone, so I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do this. But I will let you guys know because I know you guys are eager to see me do my thing. Haven't decided how I'm going to do it. Happy birthday, Carol! So took it easy for my birthday today. Hearts for Carol and Julissa's mom, whose birthday is on Monday. Happy birthday, ladies! I know Julissa's mom is not listening, but I'm gonna give her a shout out anyways. As always, guys, because I was reminded, Skeleduck is somewhere in this background. He's kind of out in the open. I kind of made it a little easy today. Um, So just remind me at the end of the stream and I reveal his location. If you guys are not familiar with Skeleduck, for anybody new that might be lurking, um, who's a little afraid to talk in the chat, Skeleduck is located in my upper right hand corner, but it may be your upper left hand corner. That is what he looks like. I hide him every stream somewhere in my background. Just remind me at the end of the stream because I will forget. Lately I've been good, but sometimes I do forget. Delay Lex, what is up? He's saying hi to everybody. I know Matthew found him. I put him in an easy spot, so it shouldn't be too hard for you guys. No pinche pato anymore, right? Not today. Chris goes, "I like it when it's easy to find." All right, guys, I kind of have planned today's kind of like open topic. I don't really have one main topic, but it is going to be I'm going to bring on um the spookiness. I'm going to start off with I did find an update cuz I know I had done a stream on Macamee Manor, which is that extreme haunted attraction. I believe there was also a documentary on Hulu, I believe it or not, talking about the owner of this extreme horror. It started here, I believe, in San Diego, if I'm not mistaken. For those of you that aren't familiar, um, something, I mean, it was to the extreme. If you guys aren't familiar with extreme horror attractions, they're not like your mazes at Universal Studios or Knott's Scary Farm or the Haunted Hayride or your basic haunted house. Extreme horror means they can actually touch you, they can drag you in water, they can do this. It's like actually being in a horror film. They can put, bugs on you. They can do whatever they want with you, and you basically sign a waiver before doing these things. I have never done one. I don't think I ever want to. I did not. I kind of knew these existed. I knew there were some that allowed the scare actors to touch you, but I didn't know to what extreme. This guy was the total extreme. Um, and there was a petition to get him shut down in San Diego, so he shut down and then he moved to Tennessee, I believe it was, and he reopened it. And some allegations occurred during this time because this guy does not stop. Even if there's no safe word with this particular extreme horror attraction. So if you say stop, the guy continues. That they did in the Hulu documentary, they did show examples of one that did have safe words that if you did say the safe word, they would stop, which I have no problem with that because sometimes people go into things and they think they can take it. And when they're in it, they're like, what mistake did I make? So if there's a safe word, I'm all cool for it. It's not something I would do. I don't kind of agree with them. I don't mind if you go to one where they just touch you, the kind of like jump scare to touch you type of thing. I wouldn't mind that, but these go beyond that. Like they tie you up, they put potato sacks on your, over your head, stuff like that. So that's where, and these people thrive. The people that do these, that actually go through these extreme haunted, they thrive on it. And it seemed like the examples that they used in that documentary were people that went through traumatic experiences. Rooster, what is up? Ozzy goes, he sounds like a total sadistic psychopath. In my opinion, he is. Curvin Eyes hates bugs, spawns of Satan. Chris goes, I haven't been to a haunted attraction since I was in my 20s. So I do have an update. If you guys remember, he was charged with second degree attempted murder, and domestic violence in July 19th. So this was about a couple of months ago. And no, I do not want to subscribe. This was a couple of months ago when I did talk about this. And it looks like the charges have been dropped. And this man, he put his girlfriend through it too. And so when Ozzy says yes, he sounds like a sadistic psychopath, I believe he is. And this is my opinion. So the Tennessee Macamee Manor haunted attraction owner sees criminal charges against him dropped. This came out a couple of days ago. Several criminal charges against the owner of a controversial Tennessee haunted attraction were dropped Monday after a court hearing in Lawrence County. Russ Macamee was facing second-degree murder, attempted murder, rape, or YouTube, you didn't hear me say that, and domestic violence after his July 19th arrest. At the time, police said McAmee strangled a woman identified as his girlfriend. Yes, his girlfriend, and arred her during a domestic altercation. The Tennessean does not name victims of SA, which they shouldn't. It should be their prerogative if they want to tell their story. I totally agree with that. McAmee attorney Davis Griffin issued a statement via email Monday after a Lawrence County General Session Court spokesperson confirmed the charges were dropped against his client. After District Attorney General Brent Cooper personally reviewed the evidence we collected over the past 2 months and spoke with Mr. McAmee, accuser, who was present in person this morning, he decided to voluntarily and unconditionally dismiss all 4 charges against Mr. McAmee because the allegations had not merit whatsoever. Griffin wrote, General Cooper's diligence and professionalism in his decision is commendable. I previously said the truth would come out. General Cooper's unqualified decision should tell you everything you need to know. Lisa Boo, thank you for gifting 1 membership. Welcome, Rebecca Oliver, to the Wolfpack. Hearts for Lisa Boo. Thank you, Lisa Boo. I appreciate that. D Nice Ghost, she said grape, okay? Thank you, D Nice. That's what I said, YouTube, grape. I was talking about wine. So basically they're saying it's no merit. I'm guessing no proper evidence to put it through court, I'm guessing, is why they dropped the charges, or the girlfriend is backing down on it, which can happen sometimes, which is sad because if it actually happened, she deserves justice. McAmee Manor under fire. McAmee Manor is the haunted attraction in Summertown, Tennessee, about 70 miles from Nashville. So if you guys are in the area and you hear McAmee Manor, stay away because it is one of those extreme horror attraction experiences. So if you're not into that, stay away from it. About 70 miles from Nashville, garnered national attention after it was featured in a Hulu documentary. I believe it's still on there if you guys have Hulu. But the exposure led to concerns from Tennessee Attorney General Jonathan Scarametti, who launched an investigation into its business practices. McAmee said state officials demanded that he appear to answer questions not long after the documentary aired, leading him to file a lawsuit March 29th against Scarametti and Tennessee Department of Commerce and Insurance and State Fire Marshal Commissioner Carter Lawrence. He argued that Scarametti and Lawrence could not compel him to talk to the state's attorney general. The lawsuit was dismissed August 22nd, according to court records. We have filed a motion respectfully after the court to reconsider the dismissal of Mr. McAmee's case against defendant Scarametti and Lawrence. Griffin said it is not the only pending litigation McAmee is involved in. On August 30th, McAmee filed a motion to dismiss his lawsuit against Hulu and production company North of Now Film and TV while maintaining his lawsuit against Justin Yerse, an interview subject who participated in the documentary. The media defendants, including Hulu and the production company North of Now, was dismissed from the case voluntarily by Mr. McAmee because the dispute between Mr. McAmee and the media defendants had been resolved amicably and satisfactorily, Griffin said. I do not remember Hulu doc on, because I forgot the name of it. I believe it's still on there. If you guys have Hulu, check out Monsters Inside, America's Most Extreme Haunted Houses. It does mention McAmee in the description, so you know if you're in the right place, and it is on Hulu. Cindy goes, it was in Florida, not according to this. I don't know what you popped into, but according to this, and this is the Tennessean, the what you call it is in Tennessee, as well as it started off in San Diego. So I'm not sure which one you're talking about. Cindy goes, it was Florida, not the same you were talking about, Lisa. He damaged the lady's building. It was horrible. When she was cleaning up, she slipped and fell on a shard of glass. I don't know which one that one is because that's not the one I talked about in a previous stream. I'm talking about the McAmee Manor. So it looks like the charges were dropped. I'm not sure um if there wasn't enough evidence. Maybe she dropped the charges because it was the girlfriend that had put the charges in. So I'm not sure what happened, but the charges were dropped. So it looks like for right now he is uh doing his thing, but it's something I would not want to do. I think there's a few here that I didn't know about that when Halloween attractions. I'm losing my words. In SoCal here that do that, but I mean, I guess if you guys are into that, check them out, but I'm not. I usually like to go to the traditional haunted mazes, but it is Halloween, so just be careful as to which ones you go to if you're not into that thing. At Cindy, I wasn't even talking about a case in Florida. That's why I don't know what you're talking about. I'm talking about the where his charges were dropped. You're adding to my story. Cindy goes, it's the same guy, but he also had a case in Florida. He had people sign the waiver with the safe word, but wouldn't stop even when they used the safe word. I am looking for that, but I don't see anything. Thank you, Carol, for becoming a member of the Wolf Pack. Hearts for Carol, guys. No, that's okay, Cindy, because I don't know where you're getting your information from, so I can't quote that. Cindy goes, I'm sorry, just talking about how bad he is. I will stop. That's okay, Cindy. We know he's horrible already. I just don't know uh I can't quote on it because I can't find that information, but if I do on a next stream, I'll look into it. I'll mention it. Give me a second, guys. I've got all my links all over the place today. All right, guys. Apparently, Queen Camilla was pinned down by a ghost, according to her son. This is the Daily Mail, or Daily Star. Sorry, I usually do the Daily Mail, so I'm used to that. But so the queen was once pinned down in the middle of the night by a ghost, according to her son, Tom Parker Bowles, who has lifted the lid on the hauntings of his childhood home. Pictured here is Camilla, and I believe that's her son. It doesn't say on the caption. The son of Queen Camilla has claimed that her mother had was left pinned they did not proofread this, has claimed that the mother was left pinned down in bed during the dead of night by a ghost. Food critic Tom Parker Bowles laid bare the eerie past of the family's former home where Camilla and her first husband, Andrew Parker Bowles, resided, branding the gaffed haunted to Giles Brandreth of the Rosebud podcast. He recalled how the now queen felt a mysterious presence slammed her into her mattress when they lived in Bolhide Manor in Chippenham, Wilts, for a stretch of 13 years. That is a tongue twister. Bolhide Manor in Chippenham, Wilts. Spilling the spectral beans, he said it was an old house. It was a Tudor manor. You know, there's folklore and there's tales, but I think there's, lots of mad monks and gray ladies, and we never actually saw a ghost. We certainly felt them. And my mother says that she woke up one night in the middle of the night, and there was a presence sort of pinning her down in her bed. This was many, many years ago, but she made a fairly strong stuff and probably told the ghost where to go. Even though skeptical of things that go bump in the night, would flee the property, according to the 49-year-old foodie who claimed hardened disbelievers bolted back to London after feeling something sinister snuggle into their bed. Camilla previously shared, and it was a spirit, I tell you, nothing, no shenanigans like that. There would be stories of sort of banquets going on downstairs that people would hear, and there was nothing there. That is crazy. In certain areas, even our dogs were too spooked to enter. As kids, we avoided specific rooms in the large old manor house, and they always seemed to be freezing, even on the warmest summer days. Camilla was married to Andrew Parker Bowles from 1973 until their divorce in 1995. And I do believe a lot of those royal buildings are haunted. Delay Lex goes, Butler Burrell is still haunted by Diana. Lisa Boo goes, lots of sinister things went on in those manors and castles. I believe it. That's why I believe it. Even if you don't see anything, but you feel something, I feel like there is something in those buildings. Carbonize goes, the ghosts at work were riled up this last week. What happened? Jennifer Murray, what is up? So it's no doubt, no surprise that, I mean, it wasn't her that came out with it, her son said it, but it's without a doubt that they experience something. Probably even now they do. Ozzy Wax goes, Paul Burrell is all about clout, in my opinion. Paul Burrell, who is he? I'm going to go down a rabbit hole because I'm not too familiar with. He was a farmer servant of the British royal household and laterally butler to Diana, Princess of Wales, for people who do not know, because I do not follow the royals. I'm kind of loosely follow them. For those who do not know who he is. Thank you, Ozzy. Princess Diana's former butler. So, Ozzy, you think he's making it up just for attention? What do you guys think? Do you think the former butler is haunted by Diana, or do you think he's making it up for clout or attention, as Ozzy says? Carbonize goes, someone passed away and suddenly the lights were flickering. Power went on and off. Was not a generator test. Doors locked, turned on and off. Fire alarm went off, except, whoa, that is crazy. That is super crazy. Ozzy goes, I think he tells a few pokey pies or lies. Gunner Girl goes, he probably is. They were very close. Carbonized goes, I think if anything, he's haunted by the guilt of the choices he made involving Diana. Nothing that I mean, a lot of people can guilt can take a toll on you. I've never been in that position where I've been in a situation where guilt put me in that situation, but I know there's some people where guilt like literally um you know causes them like health issues. All right, guys. Since it's spooky season, I found this article. Carbonized goes, guilt, whether earned or not, can totally destroy your life. Some maybe, but as someone who also believes in ghosts, maybe. But again, would she have better people to haunt like her ex-husband? True. True. I mean, I would think that she would be watching over her children more than anything. I would think she would be watching over her grandkids and her kids more than anybody else. I feel like that's where she would haunt more than her butler, though they were close per Gunner Girl, but I would think that's where she would be mostly. It just makes sense to me. Watching over her grandkids. Chris goes, it did for me after my mom died. I thought there was more I could have done for her. When my mom died, I already knew that there wasn't really anything I could do, and it was kind of out of my hands. So I kind of knew cancer. So I kind of knew uh I knew it was basically I had to enjoy the time I had with her, and I knew that. I knew that ahead of hand because they had told us ahead of hand. And that's kind of how I never got guilt strict by that because I knew it was out of my hands. It was literally out of my hands. Even though it was hard to hear, but um I knew that was the course. I knew that there was nothing I could do. There's nothing I could stop it. There's nothing the medical personnel could do. She was at the one of the best hospitals here in SoCal for that. So I knew. I think it's kind of one of those things where I kind of accepted it even though I didn't want to, but I kind of just accepted it because that was I I wasn't a medical professional. I could not, you know, um I couldn't take it out of her. I couldn't do this and it'd be gone. I knew that. And um and it's sad. Cancer sucks. And I hope that and I know a lot of you have gone through that or have had a loved one that has passed from that and it sucks. It does. Thank you, Ozzy, for dropping by. Delia goes, I would have thought Diana would have been the one haunting Camilla. Just saying. I don't know how, I've watched shows, but I don't know how true they are. Because you know how sometimes when they do a show, not a documentary, but a show, they loosely base it, like they add their ideas to it. I did see a show, I forgot, I think it was The Crown, I want to say was the one. I never finished it, but they kind of were showing that um Diana's that what's his name? I forgot his name. Camilla's the king now. See, I told you I loosely follow this stuff. Charles. There you go. King Charles. I heard that he was always in love with Camilla, but I don't know. And then he kind of that was who he wanted to marry, and they made him marry Diana. So thank you, Lisa Boo. Charles. So that I don't know how true that is. I don't know if that was loosely based, but that's what I saw, and that's what I was like, "That sucks on his case because this is who he wanted to marry, and they were saying no." And that kinda sucks when you can't marry someone that you love, you know what I mean? So I kind of felt for him on that one, but then I felt for Diana as well because it's like, dude, you married her, you should make the best of it kinda thing, she has feelings too, you know what I mean? So it's like Joanne goes, "The Crown took a lot of liberties with the story." Exactly, that's why I don't some of these, stories based on like, I wanna use the Menendez brothers, for example, because the Netflix, uh, series on the Menendez brothers, because it wasn't a doc, took a lot of liberties, so now I'm left with so many questions. I was in high school when they were convicted, so I am familiar with the story they, in there, but I just, want more answers. There is a documentary type one that they are releasing on Netflix. I think it's because of all the comments that are coming out of the Monsters series, which is good, and I feel like that one would probably give me more answers, but I have a problem with them using liberties because it's like sometimes people take him to heart and go, "Yes, that's exactly what happens," and don't realize that it's not 100% true. Emily goes, "I heard that too. Neither one of them wanted to marry the other." So I'm not sure like what the exact story was, but Delia Lux does make a point that you when she be scorned and haunt Camilla, but you know what? She didn't seem like that type of person. I think she had moved on, she accepted it, and I think she would be watching over her children. Gunner Girl goes, "I lost my mom 21 years ago to lupus. She got sepsis. I was devastated. I prayed on her crying in the hospital and my body got warm. They said her soul passed through me. It's still extremely hard." I know it is hard. I lost my mom 24 years now. Lisa Boo, this makes sense. He needed to marry a chastised woman to bring heirs because they're kind of old fashioned. So that does make sense. That's kind of the old-fashioned mindset. Chris goes, "Mom was such a strong woman and she just withered away." I do understand. That's how I watched both my mom and dad. I both watched my dad, wither away as well. So I do know how that feels. But I think I have that mindset and it's weird because it affects me later. It doesn't affect me right away. It affects me later. But I always knew I never felt guilt about it because I knew it was something that um I didn't want them to have that, but I knew it was something that was out of my hands. But I do know how you feel, Chris. Carbonize goes, "He had to marry a woman of noble birth, good reputation, a virgin, not divorced, the big one with Camilla." Carol goes, "I still blame myself because I think I over medicated her, even though the doctor said I did not do that whatsoever." Carol, I don't think you did. I honestly don't think you did. I think you did the best you could, and I think you took care of her the best you could. And I believe the doctors because I mean, not all doctors can be believable, but I believe what they told you, Carol. Joanne goes, "There are better things to haunt than her ex-husband." I agree, Joanne. I feel like she would have moved. She moved on. Like she moved on in life from him. So I think she accepted it. So I feel like why would she haunt her? Delay Lux goes, "I love The Crown. Did anyone see the story about Dottie Fade?" Hopefully I pronounced that correctly, trying to make an indecent proposal. Chris goes, "It's so sad." It is. It's rough when you lose because it's someone that you've had there your entire life and you think they're invincible. But in actuality, they're not. None of us are. Carbonize goes, "Our bodies can only take so much until our light goes out, like the stars we've made from." Exactly. So basically, I am just going to I didn't really like I said earlier, I didn't really have any topics, or like a main topic. I have a bunch of all kinds of different topics. And then we'll get into some ghost stories because you know how I love ghost stories. Lisa Boo goes, "I love that." Oh, that's a great song. I love the song from Highlander. Queen sing it. Who wants to live forever? That is a great song. I love that song. D Nice goes, I agree. We all have a guardian angel of some sort. I totally agree. Thank you, Chris. I really enjoyed the cop ghost stories from the other night. I do love ghost stories. Sometimes the people that because like I said, it is from Reddit, so sometimes the people don't um write things correctly, but then I'll read an article from a news station and they have typos. So to each his own. Um this is apparently a radio station in Idaho has a ghost, which is always cool. I heard him singing. It was 10 a.m. I have a coworker who isn't scheduled to arrive until 6:15 every morning. Some days he'll arrive early for special projects or to get a jump on the day. The singing came from the outer office near his desk. I got out of my seat and walked down the hall. Then I rounded the corner and offered a cheerful hello. There was silence. His desk was empty. I walked the whole entire building and I found it empty. There are 4 radio stations in the building. You can argue I heard music from one of our signals. None of the speakers were on, and what I heard wasn't accompanied by any instruments. It was a joyful voice. I'm not a guy who believes in ghosts. Once I thought my dad called out my name 2 weeks after he died on a quiet street, and when I appeared, the only person in sight. I had an experience the Friday after Thanksgiving last year. It looked like a circular light moving along a wall at work about the same height as an average man. A previous business manager once watched a chair move on its own. Once one coworker heard someone come in a door on Friday night. He heard the sound in the next room. He found he was still alone in the building. There are just a few of the stories past and current employees have experienced, but I write this because I'm seeing increased activity. Is it our building is it our building alone or are the dead rising? Nerd report. It might have been a mouse. The only reason why I say mouse because a mouse freaking goes so fast you think it's a ghost. Good question. What is the building sitting on? How old is the building? It doesn't really give us that any of that. Um, doesn't even say where because I don't think they want us to know where. It might have been actually where it was posted, but um, it didn't give deets. Lisa Bugos, maybe it's Les Niesman or Herb Tarlick from WKRP in Cincinnati. I know that show. I didn't watch that show. I think I was I wasn't was I even in existence when that show came out? I don't know if I was in existence yet when that show came out. I never watched that show, but I do know of it. Kyle goes, there's a deep cut reference. Matthew goes, I could have sworn turkeys could fly. Lisa Boo goes, the turkey drop episode is the best. Julissa goes, I love that show. Chris Barber goes, best show on TV. When the heck did that come out? Hold on. 1978. Ah, that's why. I was a baby. I was in existence, but I was a baby. Might be why I never watched it, but I do know of it because they did play reruns. All right, guys, we are going to go into scary stories because that's what we're all here for, right? Lisa Boo goes, it's on reruns too. And then also too, because nowadays you could just look up a clip on YouTube. Somebody put it on YouTube probably too as well. So this is real scary ghost stories that happen to people here on Reddit. North Jersey in the mountains. Our family home was part of the mining railroad system. The old railroad was in our backwoods. Our home was an old slaughterhouse, livestock farm, dug up skulls and bones my whole childhood. We actually had the ruins of the old slaughter mill in a field with the blood drainage system to a pit with lots of bones. My entire childhood, things would fall off my shelves onto the floor, or you'd set an object down on the counter and it would be gone. I actually witnessed these things. Sometimes I would feel someone sit on my bed too. As a young adult, I constantly burned sage in my room to try and get rid of whatever was stuck in my room. My parents remodeled the house and found a bunch of animal bones buried in the foundation. And by foundation, I mean a pile of dirt with wood set on top of it. Eventually, I felt the scary thing leave my room, but there was another ghost still present. During the pandemic, I moved back in with my parents, and a few times a week, I would hear this heavy ass door open and shut. They had a porch and deck with multiple doors, so air pressure literally could not cause a door slam. I'd hear heavy boot steps downstairs and yell, "Hey, Dad!" No response. Check parents' windows that overlooked the driveway, and of course, no one would be home. Parents are still in the house and say that they constantly find all the kitchen cabinet doors open, or they hear stuff in my old room that sounds like a bookcase falling over, and they'll rush up and everything will be perfectly fine, or things will go missing and they'll find them in my old room. When they remodeled where the attic door staircase became my mini bathroom. My dad never believed in ghosts, but now that he's retired, he 100% believes we got ghosts. He was in the military, so he thinks it's funny and calls the ghost Gladys, but definitely prefers to spend his time outside. My mom does not think it's funny at all, and I'm just glad I live very far away and I refuse to stay with them when I visit. Matthew watched the new WKRP Tawny Catan and French Stewart. Carbonized goes, I bet that place smelled bad. Probably did. But then it was an old slaughterhouse, so it wasn't necessarily, I don't think they used it as a slaughterhouse, it didn't seem like they did. So it's just remnants of what was left from that time. This one's called The Mimic. I've been thinking about it a lot lately. I call it The Mimic. When I was 17 for almost a whole year, almost every time my mom and sister were out of town for the day shopping and I was home alone, I'd hear it. Keys jingling in the front door, the click on the lock, the scrape of the door sliding open and closed as the dogs rushed to the front door, barking to greet whoever just came home. I'd hear my mom or sister tell the dogs to stop and that they lived here, and the dogs would stop barking and go about their business. I would get up and go to say hi and help out things, to put things away, and nobody would be there. It stopped happening once I started staying in bed and calling my mom to see when they were instead of getting up to greet them. Once after my mom had surgery, she was staying at her parents' place for a few weeks to heal. I brought my dog for a week, and when I came home, my mom's dog, who was asleep in her room, started barking. I heard my mom tell her, "Shelby, stop barking," and after a few more barks, she listened and stopped. I ran to my mom's room to say hello. I hadn't seen her in a few weeks at that point and didn't know she was coming home, but her room was empty. I still don't know what it was or why the dog listened to the disembodied voice. I don't know why it was stealing my family's voices. A lot of other stuff has happened at the apartment, from knocking in the walls to claws scraping down my closet door. This is 100% true. Has anyone ever experienced something similar? In that same apartment, my sister had just left to her boyfriend's and my mom was at work. I started feeling sick one day. I grabbed a banana and went to my room to try and feel better. Almost as soon as I got on the bed, I heard a knocking coming from inside the walls. I could replicate it exactly by knocking my knuckles against the wall. I called my sister crying because I didn't know what it was and she came home. But just before the front door opened, the knocking stopped. She made sure I was all right, then left again and everything was quiet. I stood up to go throw my banana peel away, and as I was walking past my closet and out of my bedroom, I heard one final knock in the walls. A few months later, I rearranged my bedroom and set up a little reading corner where I was leaning against my closet and a little blanket nest I made on the floor. It only happened when I was leaning against the door for over 20 minutes, but anytime I would be reading in my little nest, I would hear and feel the vibrations of the door rumbling against my back. What sounded like claws dragging down the inside of the closet door trying to get out. It only happened 3 times before I rearranged my room again. This time I put my bed against the closet door so anything in there couldn't get out. Mind you, my closet was completely full to the top. A kitten couldn't fit in there. So I don't know where the sound was coming from, but it certainly wasn't the 3 garage bags pressing against the door. I still heard things coming from my closet after moving my bed against it, but I felt safer knowing I couldn't get, or it couldn't get out. I don't know if I would have put my bed against it. Would you guys put your bed against that if you knew like there was some noises coming out of your closet? I would not. I still don't know what was in the apartment, but I'm glad it didn't follow me when we left. Edit to add, I just remembered at the same apartment, I was lying in bed right at the edge of the bed when my hand over the edge, with my hand over the edge, when I heard a loud bang, like someone punched my dresser across the room. It made me jump into the middle of the bed, and a few seconds later, my bed started aggressively vibrating off the floor. Edit to this post. In my house before the one I just moved out of, a few days after my mom and I moved in, I was talking to one of the neighbors and she brought up I was so young. She brought up that I was so young to be into older men. I questioned what she meant and she said that the night before at midnight I was at my window smoking my bong, and there was an old man standing behind me. Me and my mom lived alone and no man would be in our house at midnight. Attic was in my room at that house, and we put a latch lock on it because it flew open one day and I heard stomping around in my room like a man in work boots. Multiple times the latch would just fall and I had to put the chain tight to lock it, so no way it could have fallen. One day the latch fell and there was no possible way to relatch it. The day the attic door started banging open and closed repeatedly for about 15 minutes right in front of me. Time to move out of that house or apartment. And the house I just moved from, my sister had the basement for over a year. Everyone in the house changed rooms, and me and my daughter moved to the basement. One night at around 2 a.m., I woke up to my bedroom door creaking open. I just moved my eyes to look at the door and saw a skeletal looking hand reaching into my room slowly. It got halfway to the elbow before it just stopped for a few seconds, then slowly moved back out. As soon as the hand was out of sight, I whispered to my dog, "Go look in the hall." She was watching the door too, and she got up, jumped off the bed, and ran into the hallway. She came back a few seconds later, and I immediately jumped up and ran to slam the door shut and locked it. I couldn't have been my sister because it couldn't have been my sister because the stairs are creaky and she would have been able to get back upstairs without me hearing. Naturally, I was up the rest of the night. When the sun came up, I waited another couple of hours till about 10 a.m. and went upstairs to her room and woke her up asking why she was in my room the night before. And she was confused. She said she hadn't gone downstairs since she did laundry the afternoon before. We were the only two people in the home. After that, my daughter, who was 18 to 25 months old, would periodically wake up from her room next to mine and just scream. My sister agrees with me that it wasn't normal. Let me out of this room screaming. She was terrified. One time I went in her room when she started screaming and she ran to me and just clutched onto me so tightly while craning her head toward the window. When she learned her words about a month after it, she started to say go at nothing. We just moved 2 weeks ago and she's been talking to the closet before bed, addict in the closet. And sometimes when we're downstairs, she points to the stairs and waves and says, "Upstairs, bye bye." No, 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 no. D Dice goes, "This is why I like footboards as well as headboards. Lessens the possibility of being grabbed by the legs by an unknown entity." That's why I can never have my feet, unless it's during the day, but I can never have my feet. My feet have to be in the blanket, even when it's hot. I cannot sleep with my feet hanging off the bed. Carbon Ice goes, "The closet would no longer exist. Who needs a jacket?" D Dice goes, "It's always the closet. Feng shui in your bedroom is important." D Dice goes, "I wish my bed when I was younger had a footboard, then I probably would not have woke up halfway in my closet." I don't think I've ever had a bed with a footboard. Maybe when I was younger, or like a crib obviously does. Crib um has all sections covered, but I don't think I've ever had a bed um with the footboard. Headboard, yes. D Dice goes, "I have one now." But I don't think I have, no, I never had. I've always had the headboard and then it was open on the end. But I've never had a situation experience the situation like in that story where some like the bed started moving or something grabbed me, or it might not necessarily be the house, it could be her that's attracting it, because she moved to different places and it's following her, it seems like. So she could be the one causing the, paranormal activity. Chris goes, "I always hated my bedroom closet and under the bed was scary." Gunner Girl goes, "I used to always check under my bed and behind the shower curtain. I actually do that when I go to hotels." Carbonites goes, "We had a lot of poachers around when I was a kid, so under the bed and windows were the scary spots for me." Chris goes, "I never had a footboard either." Here's another story. This one's puzzle headed hyphen amount 4. "I got a story for y'all. You guys tell me if you think it was paranormal or not. About 2 years ago, my girlfriend and I had our 3-year anniversary. We had a great dinner in downtown LA, and she had a little surprise for me after. She rented a pool in the Hollywood Hills for us. Though this app through this app called Swimply, I had never heard of this app, nor would I ever think to rent out a pool in someone's backyard. I've never heard of the app, but I've heard about people renting out their pools. I mean, I guess nowadays you can rent out your house, you can rent out a pool, you can rent out a RV if you have one, to people. I do know of that, but I've never heard of that app. Just not my thing, but my girlfriend was excited about it and thought it would be romantic. To be honest, though, I really wasn't feeling it. I didn't want to do it, but she had paid a decent amount for it, and I didn't want to be a buzzkill. I kind of don't think I would want to rent a pool at someone's house too, because you don't know who's watching. You know what I mean? Like, are they home when you rent the pool out? I don't know about that. That's kind of, and then especially with an app, you don't know who you're renting from. So that's another thing. The yeah, not knowing, especially in this day and age, is kind of scary in itself. My intuition told me as we started our drive to the Hollywood Hills, this isn't a good idea. Multiple times, I had a gut feeling that going up to this house up in the Hollywood Hills was just not a good idea. Also, she had this reservation through Swimply from 7:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Worse, it's at night. So again, are the people that own the house, pool, etc. there? I would not want to do that because I would feel like there's eyes on me. We got out of dinner around 8:30 p.m., so we were going to get to this house late. We get to the house, park, and it's just so dark and quiet up in those hills. Didn't see a car pass by us once. We got to the hills, didn't really see anyone out walking, thought it was, though it was nighttime. In order to get into the backyard, you needed a code. We had a code and were told that we'd have the backyard to ourselves for 2 hours with no other company. The first thing that weirded me out slightly is that the gate was already open. No code was needed, which was odd to me. We get into the backyard and there's a jacuzzi and a pool. The pool has a tarp on it, though, so we didn't get into it. It was a very cold night in LA, too, so we just sat in the jacuzzi. I had a very weird feeling when I walked into the backyard, one that I can only describe as vertigo. I looked into the house a little bit from the backyard and see a couple of lights on, but it's pretty dark. Couldn't tell if anyone was home or not. After a couple of minutes, though, I got that feeling where if you keep on looking into the house, you may see something you don't want to see. Exactly. We didn't have any music or anything, just the cold wind, the loud slap of a tarp going against the pool, and a wind chime going above us in the jacuzzi. It was about 9:15, and I finally tell my girlfriend it's time to go. I don't like the vibe here. Maybe I was paranoid, but as soon as I said that, she said, "Yeah, I agree. Let's go." That made me even more nervous because I could tell she felt the same creepiness I felt. We go to the back of the backyard where the bathroom is and change. At this point, I'm trying to get out of this backyard and to the house as fast as possible. As my girlfriend heads to the gate and I follow, I feel the hairs on the back of my neck raise as if someone was looking or following me. Everything I'm about to say happens in under 30 seconds. Her and I are heading to the gate, and I'm obviously avoiding looking in the house because I'm creeped out. Her and I both notice a camera that was pointed directly at us while we were in the jacuzzi. And then, right when we were about to open the gate, my girlfriend says, "Oh, I picked her up and we get the hell out of there." Now I believe in something. I don't know if it's ghost, but I believe in something other than us that was out there. My girlfriend doesn't do ghost talk. It freaks her out. I asked my girlfriend when we get in the car, "Why did you yell? What happened?" She seemed really upset and told me she didn't want to talk about it. She ends up telling me later that night that she saw something, somebody looking at us through the house windows right when we left the gate, but she couldn't describe what she truly saw. She said it was just staring at us, though. Still gives me the chills to this day, but honestly, I could have just been a creep. Let me know what y'all think. I wouldn't have done it in the first place. That, especially that late at night. And if, like I was saying, like, is someone going to be in the house watching me? Because I mean, if I was doing that, I'd be watching because I'd be making sure they're not messing up my stuff. But but that being an app, it could have been some creep. You know what I mean? Tyretta goes sus. Carbonize goes get out of the pool. D Nice goes, heck no, no way. You want to see my pool? You got to clean up after yourselves. D Dice goes night swim infinity pool, lady in the water, the pool, final destination. So many scary moves associated with pools and or water. Exactly. Emily goes, I've never been bothered in my bed, but I would hear rustling of the plastic bag and the garbage can. I'd see a shadow out of the corner of my eye. That is creepy. Heather, whatever, what is up? But I don't think, I mean, I've seen that you could do that. I've also seen that you could do that, like get a day pass to hotels. Hotels is different. But to somebody else's house, I don't know. That kind of creeps me out. I don't think I would have done that, but I mean, she and in the Hollywood Hills, I know there's some places that are haunted in that area, so no. My ghost story, first part written by my sister about when we visited the Queen Mary back in the 70s. I asked what she remembered her version of events. You were circa second grade and still very much in the early stages of learning how to read. We were standing shoulder to shoulder with our hands on the outside railing of the Queen Mary's outside deck, looking out toward it's not really the bay. We'd left mom and dad out of sight and only relatively nearby to run over to see more of the ocean view. We stopped at a nice open and quiet spot. No one was close by to where we stood viewing the ocean harbor. In the near distance was an airplane towing a banner advertising an upcoming beach concert. You stood there and were trying to sound out. You stood there, so I guess she's talking about her sister. Um, and we're trying to sound out loud the words on the banner and going very slowly as a beginning reader. After a short time of you struggling to read the banner out loud, I heard a woman's voice right behind the two of us. For just half a second, I thought mom had come up behind us, but then realized the voice wasn't mom's, but the friendly sounding woman was gently sounding out the next syllable whenever you stopped reading out loud when you were having trouble. But the woman sounded quite nice and was gently helping you along whenever you came to any hard combination of letters. You followed suit in perfect timing with her instructions. But by the end of the banner's message, though, I lost patience and I spoke out loud the very last syllable right at the same moment I was turning around to smile and thank the woman for her help, but was confronted with, whoops, this can't be. There was absolutely no one around or behind us, not just right behind us where the helpful woman should have been, but no one in that entire section of the open deck, i.e., no place for anyone to duck and hide. Too spooky for me, and I decided we better go back ASAP to where we left mom and dad. My part. Funny thing is, I remember the lady, I do mean lady, standing next to me before my sister arrived. Her face was kind but unremarkable. She had an old lady flower dress, purse, maybe gloves, formal fan of formal big fan of the Queen Mary, going on about what a beautiful ship. She asked me, "Don't you think so?" I was a polite kid, so I said something like, "Yeah, it's neat." I was busy looking at the other ships in the harbor. Then my sister arrived and the above narrative took place. I don't recall her speaking when my sister remembered her talking. I thought she had left already. Ghost tutor. Heather, whatever goes, my godmother finished sentences for me a lot. She was a nurse, exceptional human. That sounds like it's a ghost story, but it's one of those nice ones. Like it still freaks you out, but I felt like the lady was really nice. So to me, that's kind of one of those stories where that was a nice story. That wasn't something like scary. Well, I mean, I guess if that happened to me, it would freak me out. But it was kind of like the woman was helping her. It was weird. Heather, whatever. Thank you for your PayPal hearts for Heather, whatever, guys. Thank you, Heather, whatever. And she says, hi. Thank you, Heather, whatever. Hearts for Heather, whatever. It's a great name, by the way. Saw the Hat Man in my childhood bedroom as a kid standing in front of my nightlight when I was about 7 or 8. I reached out and touched it, and it felt like my hand was burning up. I have never ever forgotten that experience. Had a very creepy encounter with something whispering in my ear at night when I was in my teens. Same bedroom as the Hat Man encounter. There was something up with my parents' house. I also read something about the Hat Man that it could possibly be sleep paralysis. Stayed in a haunted dorm for 2 years in college. It used to be a hotel, and a few people had died in it over the years. It was in operation. In one incident, me and 3 other roommates had our own attached private bathroom, and we were chilling in our bunks one day when the metal faucet knob just turned itself on and the sink started spraying. Also heard the bouncing ghost, which was pretty commonplace throughout the building. You'd hear someone bouncing a rubber ball in the hallway, but no one would ever be there when you looked. I always assumed it was just the athletic kids going to their practice, but RAs and other people would work in the building, heard the bouncing when class was out of session and summer break and stuff. Also had a ghost in my old apartment who liked to drop things. D Nice goes the Hat Box Ghost from the Haunted Mansion. I think they added him to the Haunted Mansion in Disneyland, but I haven't been to Disneyland I think since I was in my 20s. So I'm kind of out in the loop when it comes to that. I feel like Disneyland nowadays it's like you got to donate a kidney to go there. The price of it is ridiculous. So I kind of like I mean, I've been there, I don't need to go there again. with that with the price cuz the price of it has gone up significantly, and it's crazy. Even to get a pass, it's like hard to even if you wanted to spend the money, say like you had the money, you wanted to get a pass, it's hard to get a pass if you don't have one already. 'Cause I don't know, D Nice, for the money that I could go there, I would rather go somewhere else. I mean, I would love to go, but the prices kind of keep me away from it. Because I do remember Pirates of the Caribbean and the Haunted Mansion were my two favorite rides. I would always have to go. And then when Indiana Jones came out, of course, that became one of my favorites as well. About 20 years ago, I and my 2 children rented an apartment. The apartment was the top floor of a home built in 1910. After a couple of nights, we settled in for some sleep. I thought I was dreaming about my children playing, but woke up due to their noise. Both were asleep. I tried going back to sleep, but the sound resumed. Footsteps running across my ceiling, giggling and laughter. The next day, I went to the attic to check things out. Nothing. That night, the sound resumed. A few days later, I met my downstairs neighbors, so I asked them about it. The whole building was haunted by multiple entities. Their lights would shut off, the sinks would start running, and they'd seen shadow figures. So we just accepted it. My deceased uncle, who followed me everywhere, would show up sometimes, easily discernible as he's the only one that's ever been able to touch me. During that time, my uncle and grandma would show up in photos. We had no problem with any of them. Then we moved into a home I bought. While packing, one of them, unrelated to me, managed to pack itself into a box. Yeah, the one that likes to open all the cabinets and drawers in the night, the one that takes things and hides them. We saw it as a child, so we named it Newt. Now, if something goes missing, we kindly ask Newt to return it and wait for a few minutes. It'll pop up somewhere, obviously. The cats adore Newt as well. And yes, my grandma and uncle are here, but the kids stayed behind. D Nice goes. It's best to know a cast member. I got lucky. My best friend is dating a cast member, and he signed my boyfriend and other friends in for my birth. That is cool. That is cool. This story is sweet. That's a sweet story. I always like I said, if I ever had was haunted and it was a ghost that wasn't causing me, causing me harm, I have no problem living in harmony with them. Chris goes, I've been to World and Land, but I was 6 or 7. I went to Disney World, I think, when I was in 6th grade. It was the summer between 6th and 7th, so I was going into 7th. D Nice goes, that story made my heart melt. It was a sweet story. But just imagine waking up to children running above you in the middle of the night. I don't know what I would do. I don't think I'd be scared of it. I'd be like, "Who the heck is up there?" type of thing. Matthew goes, "No problem with a ghost in the house as long as they help me clean." The ghosts tend to knock things over, so I don't know if they would help you clean, Matthew. They might cause more of a mess if they hear you say that. Earlier in my relationship, my boyfriend and I would stay at a house a lot. There was one night I was super restless and could not get comfortable to fall asleep for the life of me. I migrated from the bed to go lay on the couch so I didn't wake up my boyfriend from constantly readjusting my position, hoping to get comfortable, then getting pissed off because I couldn't fall asleep. It was around 2, 3 in the morning when I plopped myself on the couch in defeat. I was scrolling on my phone for a few minutes until I looked over towards the hallway because it felt like I was being watched. There was a shadow figure peeking from the corner of the hallway over 6 feet off the ground, focused on me. I'm not sure how long it had been watching me at that point, but it was unnerving to say the least. The whole head wasn't visible. It was legitimately trying to be sneaky and peek around the corner without being detected, which made it even creepier. It felt like the figure was staring into my soul. I couldn't make out its features, but I didn't have to in order to know it was fully focused on me. The feeling of something watching was enough of a hint. I stared back at it for a minute or so to make sure I wasn't hallucinating and also was processing what I was seeing. As soon as it clicked that I was having a staring contest with the shadow figure, I audibly said nope, turned over to face the couch, and knocked out within a few minutes. My boyfriend gets spooked fairly easily, so I decided to keep that encounter to myself the next day. While I was home alone, I saged the house and gave the spirit an eviction notice. Fast forward to the next night after the experience, I woke up in the middle of the night to my boyfriend shaking, sitting straight up in bed. He woke up to bright light shining through the windows. I asked what had happened and if he was okay. In hysterics, my boyfriend informed me that he saw his uncle outside of his window staring straight at him with headlights shining behind him. My boyfriend then explained to me that his uncle was killed in a car accident at a relatively young age and never met him. Turns out his uncle has been seen multiple times by his cousins who has a lot of resemblance to him. My boyfriend also has a lot of resemblance to his uncle as well. I guess he visits the family members that looked like him since no one else in the family has had any form of encounter with him. The experiences I heard about from his cousins consisted of him just watching him while peeking around the corners. I put the two experiences together and figured what I saw was his uncle. I'm pretty sure his uncle was not too thrilled with me for kicking him out of the house with the cleansing I did earlier in the day. He made sure my boyfriend knew he was present regardless of being banished from the house. The presence didn't feel menacing or evil when I saw him. Looking back, the presence felt familiar, yet not at the same time. It was definitely not the most comfortable experience since it was a large dark figure peeking around a corner and solely focused on me while I was alone on the couch in a completely silent house. Just for fun, I decided to pull up this ghost communication all the next morning while my boyfriend was away at work, and the words that popped up instantly were car, headlights, and crash. If the app is a hoax, it definitely had me fooled by how relevant the words were to the recent experiences. I kept the app open for a while and asked some questions, hung out watching the words that came across the screen, which corresponded to the questions. It was an interesting experience to say the least. I haven't seen his uncle at all since that night we moved, but I'm waiting for the day to be reunited with that dark figure peeking around the corner watching me. Dusty, what is up? D Nice goes, the last I went to Disneyland was for my cousin's wedding. my parents and I made the trip to Orlando, and I got pushed. I pushed my mom around on a wheelchair. She looked up at me and said, "This is payback for when I pushed you as a 2-year-old." That's cool. That's sweet. All right, guys, I'm going to read one more story, and then I'm going to open it up for questions. I knew this family that grew up on the shores of Lake Monroe in Indiana. They lived on site at a boat dock and managed the slips there. There were 3 sons living and working there with their mom. The boys and I were drinking around the campfire one night, and the eldest was telling me about how there was an abandoned town beneath the lake. Its citizens relocated and the valley flooded to form the reservoir for the wealthy to enjoy. I then asked for their spooky stories growing up on the lake. All 3 brothers immediately launched into an extremely detailed account of the haunting in the back room of their home. The room in question was a latter addition to their log cabin. This bedroom was built later, probably in the 70s, kind of tacked onto the back of the minimal insulation and cheap windows, raised on stilts to be leveled with the rest of the house. First, they said this room was always colder than the rest of the house. I laughed and said that was normal for a cheap addition. They got serious and insisted that it could get cold enough in that room to see your breath, even on warm summer nights. They had always found the room creepy, but it was their guest who had the really hellish nights there. Every time a guest stayed in the room, they always mentioned feeling a hostile or threatening presence, and some had even been woken by slaps, whispering, or hissing. Come morning, they often found guests had moved to the couch in the den. That felt a little anticlimactic, so I goaded them a little. Surely they had a better story for me. That's when they told me about the ghost girl. Some nights the 2 oldest brothers would go catfishing in the dark. That's how they first saw it, a pale white light bobbing in the darkness along the shoreline. It flickered like fire but wasn't the right color, they said. It didn't stand out at the time because they figured it was just another person noodling like they were. It wasn't till the morning that they realized that the person they'd seen had been halfway up the side of a sheer cliff, bobbling along at a walking pace. After that, they've seen it many nights, but didn't talk much about it. But one time, while night fishing around 3 a.m., they finally decided to check it out a little closer. This time, the lights were bobbing along a low shoreline, so they approached in their fishing boat and called out to her from behind. They could see it was a girl or woman in a white nightgown and that she was barefoot. She didn't stop or even slow down. Intrigued and probably horny, definitely dumb, they circled to get in front of her and greeted her again, asking if she needed help. They swore to me in the aggressive way that young men do when they're actually scared that it was a little girl in a white nightgown with no face. I was told the story in 2013 on the shores of Lake Monroe, Indiana, by a bunch of boys who had previously been trying to act macho and flirt with me. But when this topic came up, their demeanor palpably changed. I know the details aren't terrifying, but it was the delivery that got me. Either they had rehearsed for this their whole lives, or this was something that they had really experienced just a couple of 100 feet from where we were sitting. Guys, what did you think of those scary stories for this Saturday night? They were pretty cool. I love scary stories. Though I don't have much of my own, I've told you a few, but I've never actually seen a door open by itself or see things move, but I've had other experiences like that. Chris Barr goes, I like ghost stories. I do too. All right, guys, I'm going to open it up for questions. D Nice goes, it's perfect for the holiday season. Exactly. That's why I wanted to tell ghost stories to get us in the spooky season. Though a lot of people start spooky season September 1st, so I'm kind of a little late. No, I'm just kidding. I've been bringing the spooky the whole time. All right, guys, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. And if you guys have a ghost story of your own that you'd like to share, please email me at graysonreport13@gmail.com, and I may share it on one of my streams. Lisa Bugo, what's the last concert you went to? Well, I went to, I mean, if you're talking about concerts, it's been a while. Holy crap. I think the last concert I went to was, um, I want to say Our Lady Peace, because I was a huge Our Lady Peace fan. Yeah, I want to say it was Our Lady Peace. I don't think it was 30 Seconds to Mars. I think it was Our Lady Peace. Was the last rock concert I've been to. But I've been to music festivals. The last one I went to was Hard Summer here in the LA area. Nocturnal obviously was canceled because of the fires at the time. They were wreaking havoc in that area. So I ended up going to like a park party. Julissa goes, the stories were so good. Thank you. Thank you, Julissa. Emily goes, I do spooky all year. I am the same. Chris Barber goes, I wish my friends still had Halloween parties. I have never actually gone to a Halloween party. If that's weird. That sounds weird, doesn't it? Brandon goes, did you hear about the Oreo Pepsi? I did, and I'm intrigued. I'm tempted to try it. Jennifer Marie goes, the last concert I went to was the dopest DJ show in Phoenix, courtesy of Lisa Lewis and Lisa. Thank you, Jennifer Marie. Lisa Boothos, they are awesome. They have a 30th anniversary tour in Europe. That is super cool. Dusty Ghost sounds like great stories. My son is a lineman that has traveled to the south with many other crews to help with the power outages. He said they will be there for a while. I heard there's people, I'm hoping people that there's a lot of people out on the East Coast that do not have power. I hope that you guys stay safe. The ones that do have power, I'm glad you guys are safe, and hopefully the worst is behind you. Because I follow someone that's in North Carolina, and she showed pictures of her area that's flooded, and that they have no power or anything at the moment. Julissa goes, my favorite Oreos are the Thin Mint ones. They are so much better than the Girl Scout Thin Mints. I have never tried the Oreo ones. I should check those out. The Thin Mints ones. I usually just get the traditional Oreos. Lately, Oreos have been coming out with like some crazy designs. Like they had Super Mario Brothers, but when they come out with designs like that, I don't open the package. D Nice goes, my uncle is in Florida. He keeps sending me videos. Lisa Boo, I agree. So sad with all the flooding. That's the only, that's the only thing. I mean, I guess we get earthquakes over here. We did have a hurricane, but it wasn't as bad as last year. It wasn't bad like what had went down on the East Coast. But I don't want to live through a hurricane. But then there's people that say they don't want to take earthquakes, but I think I've been here all my life, so I'm used to it. Lisa Boo goes, it's in Tennessee. I did see that. It's in Tennessee and Georgia as well. All right, guys, real quick. Skeleduck was in an easy location this time. He is right there, which is on my left side. It might be on your right side, because I think the image is flipped. So he's right here. He's just chilling like a villain next to my skeleton and Chucky. He's propped up on my zombie sign that's back there, and he's saying hi to y'all. Lisa Boo goes, yep, peeking at us. Gunner Girl goes, I've always loved your story. This community is amazing. You've grown so much. Thank you, Gunner Girl. Heather, whatever goes, I'm with you, Lisa. No hurricanes or tornadoes. Exactly. Tornadoes. I've never been through a tornado. I hope I never witness that. Brandon goes, I've been through hurricanes, tornadoes, and dust storms. It's crazy. I've seen dust storms, like a minute one, not like a super bad one, but I've been through a dust storm. D Nice goes, my boyfriend and his uncle were lucky enough to escape the storm. They were in Central America for his grandfather's. Wow. I'm glad he's okay. Julissa goes, I like when we could see his face. He has a cute face. D Nice goes, they flew back yesterday. I'm glad they were able to escape it. Lisa Boo goes, thank you so much. Been a great show. I always loved your story. Thank you, Lisa Boo. I appreciate that. I knew you're being sarcastic. Chris goes, I love tornadoes. Tornadoes are so much fun. Not. Jennifer Murray goes, there's just nothing terrifying about California earthquakes in my 31 years of experiencing them. I don't know. I think I'm used to them, but I've never been uh the most I've ever remembered one was the Northridge quake, but because I'm way inland, that was probably the one I remember the most as being the strongest one I've been through. But I know Northridge got the brunt of it, but I've never been through one like that. But I'm in an area, I mean, I guess allegedly there is a fault that goes through here, but it hasn't like been bad. And I think we're on bedrock or something. I don't know. I remember something like that. Dusty goes, we have hurricanes, but no tornadoes. Earthquakes are quite usually also. I know we had two today, allegedly. There was one here in SoCal. We had two earthquakes. I didn't feel them. I didn't feel the last one either that we had. One was off the coast of Malibu, and I think the other one was inland by Fontana. I'm pointing that way, like Fontana's that way. Fontana's that way. um, but I didn't feel either of them. I don't know what time they hit because the article I saw just like, by scrolling didn't say the time, but Gunner Girl goes, it was a record of 117 today and it's fall. Oh my God, Gunner Girl, I feel you. And I'm pretty sure you're done with the heat. I know I was. When September rolled around and that weekend we had crazy weather, I was done. I hope it does. I'm afraid it's going to come back. Thank you, Tyrana. Thank you for the great stories, Lisa. D Nice goes, his dad stayed back because he's driving his dad's car for his daughter. Boyfriend's sister inherited his car. Ah. Lisa Boo goes, I always heard since I was a kid about the San Andreas fault line. Chris goes, and we were only sideswiped by one. Jennifer Murray goes, the craziest one I lived through was the 5.6 in La Habra. I was 2 blocks from the epicenter and experienced the full force. Still not terrifying, just insane. You know what, Jennifer Murray, I probably felt that one. I just don't remember it. I just remember, I don't know why. There's something about the Northridge one that I remember. Like I remember exactly where I was when it hit and how I felt it and stuff like that. I think a couple of years ago we had a good jolt here and things. That might be the one you're talking about, Jennifer Murray, that I'm thinking of. It things fell off my dresser. Julissa goes, earthquakes aren't that scary when you grow up experiencing them. True. Heather whatever goes, Loma Prieta in San Francisco was bad. I was watching the World Series on TV, saw it, and burst into tears. I lived there before where I am now. Oh, wow. Chris goes, my brother worries more about fires living in California. True. True. I mean, I'm lucky. I do have a hill behind my house, but they do. I notice now they do cut it. And then I think on the other side, I've seen they use goats. And whenever I see the goats, I'm like, oh, the goats, to clear the brush. But so far, luckily, we've never had one. We've had a fire, because beyond the hill, there's Grand, and then there's the 60 freeway. So it is connected to those two areas. So luckily, I think there's only been one by the freeway, but they were able to get it. So we've never had, and I think there was one on the cul-de-sac by me too, but they were able to take care of it. But luckily now we have a water tank by my house because behind they started building up warehouses and stuff. Jennifer Murray goes, I got to see the San Andreas fault line in person. It was so cool to see. We went on a hike to the lookout point to see it while camping in Joshua Tree. That is so cool. D Nice goes, March of 2014, the damn quake that struck during my grandmother's viewing, that then aftershocks while we were laying her to rest. She wanted to make sure that you guys knew. That's crazy though. That's definitely memorable. Emily Parkinson goes, you at least have a few days warning with hurricanes, so leave for a couple of days. Tornadoes don't give much warning, especially if it drops right on you. Kyle goes, an old friend is now a crazy zealot and posts every day that God is going to sink our island. Oh my gosh, that would drive me nuts. that, w- that would. There's, unfortunately, Kyle, there's people like that. They keep saying that California is going to be broken away from the rest of the states. I don't know. I don't know. Gunner Girl goes, we used to live in Huntington Beach in Ventura. I remember earthquakes once grabbing my kids out of their cribs and standing in the doorway. We had cracked sidewalks and everything broken. Pretty scary. Wow. Chris goes, we had about 4 minutes of warning of our tornado. Dusty goes, I've been through some strong earthquakes that knock things off my shelves, but the hurricanes are much more scary. Strong winds, trees falling, had some hit my house, and branches land on my car. That's scary. I feel like that's scarier. Heather, whatever goes, California is the center of the world. The U.S. would break off from it. Just saying. All right, guys, any last minute questions before I end this stream? Thank you, Heather. Whatever, great one, Lisa. D Dice goes, if Los Angeles cuts away from California, Dwayne The Rock Johnson better have room for me, Maya, and my boyfriend on that chopper. Lisa Boo goes, love you guys. All right, guys. Julissa, thank you. Have a great Sunday. Tyrana, thank you. Have a great night. And everyone, all right, guys, I'm going to end the stream here. Thank you for joining me on this edition of Grace Report. I will see you on the next one, which will be Monday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Be there, be squared, stay spooky, guys, and sweet nightmares. Thank you, guys, and have a great rest of your weekend. Good night, guys. See you on the next one.